Dear friends in Jesus Christ, we are in the sixth Sunday of the Ordinary Time, Year B. The Gospel passage of today is the condensed form of the first reading, the responsorial psalm, and the second reading of today. The Gospel opens up the passage with the words of "A leper came to Jesus." The first reading tells us about how a leper must be treated. It tells about the social status of a leper in the ancient time. Leprosy is a severe skin disease and is contagious. Proper leprosy is called Hansen's disease. But earlier, all types of skin diseases were called as leprosy. The priest will declare the disease and they have to be out of the community. They had to be quarantined immediately. They had to shout, "Unclean, unclean," as anyone approached. If they are cured, they come back to the priest, and if the priest is satisfied, the priest will declare to come back to the community. So leprosy causes a severe physical pain. Lepers are socially distanced, and leprosy was also considered as a punishment from God for their sins. No one would dare to go near or touch a leper. Thus, lepers suffered physically, spiritually, emotionally, and socially. Here we see a leper comes to Jesus, kneeling down, begging and saying, "If you wish, you can make me clean." This shows that leper had great faith in Jesus. He believed that Jesus would heal him. In ancient days, there was no medicine for leprosy, and people believed that only God could heal leprosy. So, in faith, this leper turns to Jesus. This is the responsorial psalm of today. I turn to you, Lord, in times of trouble, and you fill me with the joy of salvation. The leper turned to Jesus in his trouble. He seeks for the joy of salvation in Jesus. This is the greatest example for all of us to turn to Jesus when we are in trouble. Normally, the sight of a leper caused anger and hatred among the people. But Jesus, when he saw the leper, was moved with pity and compassion. In the last two Sundays, we saw Jesus casted out the demon by his word and healed the mother-in-law of Simon by his touch. Today, Jesus heals the leper both by his words and by his touch. Jesus touched the leper and said, "Be made clean." And the leprosy left him immediately. In his interaction with the leper and by touching him, same as with the previous healing of the mother-in-law of Simon, Jesus goes against religious laws and cultural norms of Jews. Touching a leper was prohibited by Jewish law. But no one is outside the mercy and compassion of Jesus. Jesus goes beyond all the boundaries to reach out the needy and the marginalized. The touch of Jesus breaks the barriers of isolation. It broke the spiritual barriers because God wanted his healing. It broke the social barriers because now he is united with community. It broke the emotional barriers because Jesus spoke to him. It broke physical barriers because Jesus touched and the pain is gone. After receiving the healing, the leper now proclaims the gift he received. He glorifies Jesus for the gift of healing that he received. He just does what we heard in the second reading, as St. Paul suggests, do everything for the glory of God. This is the attitude of true discipleship. Encounter with Christ must lead us to mission. This must be our attitude too. The following questions will help us to deepen our reflection on these readings. Like the lepers in the time of Jesus, who are the marginalized in the society of today? How can we help people who suffer physically, socially, spiritually, and emotionally? And what our parish community can do to help people who experience to the mercy and compassion of Christ. God bless you all. Amen.